First, Casey, with the big fire last night and stuff,
Yeah.
just how big of a pain in the butt was it to move this camp and get it going?
It was a little challenging. Obviously, we knew probably around 10:30, 11 last night that even if the families were going to get allowed back into their homes, that due to probably air quality, it wasn't going to work. So got on the phones last night and was not very successful in the beginning, but thankfully Oak Park was able to host us. A lot of graduations like ours are coming up this week, so thankfully we were able to get this thing moved. And I thought that our people and our kids and obviously everybody got the word out, as best as they could early this morning around 7. And again, the turnout was about 170 kids, which I thought was overall pretty good.
And what do you think? Overall, how did the camp go off? Was it successful?
I think so. I mean, like I told the kids at the very beginning before we introduced the coaches, just any platform that we're able to provide any of these kids. To again, you had Nebraska, then you had Hawaii, obviously Washington, Montana State, and Cal Poly. For a lot of these kids to get that exposure to come out. And the key is to be coached by their coaches. If you're a quarterback, you're working with, obviously, Coach Langsdorf or Coach Riley and those guys. And if you're a receiver, you're obviously working with coach as well. So I thought the turnout was pretty good. For these kids to get an opportunity to work with those guys and, to compete, I think that's all you can ask for.
And with Markel and Tristan and Keyshawn now, what has that kind of done with your relationship with the Nebraska coaching staff over the last couple of years?
See, the thing is, we go back probably 15, 20 years with Coach Riley, Coach Banker, and those guys. They recruited myself when I was coming out of high school, way back when they were at Oregon State. So we've known them for a long, long, long time. And I think what they're doing, obviously, hitting the spot that they hit very hard at Oregon State, obviously with a lot more resources. Again, I think it's a great match, not only for Nebraska and California, but at Calabasas, again, we just provide the kids with opportunities, and wherever they feel most comfortable, that's where they end up going. Just happened to be that in the last year and a half, we have 3 kids committed to Nebraska. But the emphasis, and obviously talking with Mike, is they're going to hit all of California really hard, and that's what they did at Oregon State, and they're going to continue to do it here in Southern Cal as well as Northern California.
How much of a pleasure has it been to coach those guys?
Awesome kids. They've pretty much kind of set the bar for us as a program. We started them 3 years ago now as sophomores with a program that was obviously unknown, and I thought I could be more proud of where they were, where they're going. And I think the key with all of our kids in general is that a lot of them have a bunch of upside. I'm recruiting nowadays and in college, I obviously want a very talented kid, but I want a kid with some ceiling that has an opportunity to develop, and they call it upside, obviously. But I think both Tristan and Keyshawn next year, and then obviously with Markel, this year, we have some other guys that have been offered, and kind of see what they end up doing. But again, I'm just really happy for those kids, and they're great kids, but they work their tails off, and obviously good football players. But to me, the most important thing is just great kids overall.
You guys came really close last year. How hungry are you to win that state title this year?
Yeah, we got beat up pretty good last year against a really, really good Citrus Hill team. Our whole key for our program is just to come out and compete to the best we can. My pride and joy is on signing day. To me, that's what matters to me. Whether we win or lose, honestly, it doesn't really matter to me. I tell the kids all the time, the commitment that you get in coming to Calabasas is you're going to get an education, you're going to be around good people, and have a great 4 years. And obviously, it's a hot school right now, and that's kind of what the school sells. It's a great environment, a great school. It's a public school, so obviously it's free to go to. But there's certain standards that we hold all of our kids to. Every kid's treated the same, and obviously the best kid plays, and you go out, compete, and do the best as you can. But I think the environment that we've been able to build at Calabasas with guys like Keyshawn and Tristan and Darnay and that group, Markel, is kind of set the bar for everybody that's coming in after them.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to just ask you a few questions about Tristan.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a former quarterback yourself, when you work with Tristan, what do you see out of him, that he has right now?
Upside. For the kid at that height and his weight, which right now is not obviously ideal for college football, the way he spins the football when he's 6'3", 215, 220, I mean, he's got the mental side of it down. Obviously, our job is best to prepare him as best as we can, and obviously let Mike and those guys take it from there. But works hard, leader of our team, and he's pretty much run the show since day one as a sophomore. And I think just the upside, especially at that position, flip a coin. Whether the guy's going to be a boom or a bust. Yeah. But I think with he's raw, meaning that he's only played football, not going on his 4th year. He's not a kid that's been training since 6 years old or whatever. And if you look at his family, they've all been late bloomers, and they're all big. So height-wise, he's going to be a 6'2", 6'3" kid. But the biggest thing that I'm excited for is just the development that he's going to have. As long as we have him for another 6 months, and obviously when he gets in there and he's 6'3", 215, 220, then I think the upside he's going to have is going to bring to the team.
And how do you think, obviously you were talking about knowing Coach Riley and everyone for a long time. How do you see him and his personality and his competitiveness fitting in with Nebraska and Coach Riley?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great fit. Again, I think everything in college sports, or really anything in life, is all about relationships. And I think Coach Riley is a straight shooter, and what you see is what you get. A lot of college football nowadays is salesmanship, and we get it. I mean, obviously they're trying to sell their program compared to everybody else, but you're going to get an opportunity. And at the end of the day, no different than high school or college, you got to make the most of the opportunity. So I think similar to kind of how Calabasas is right now and what we were kind of a year ago, kind of program on the rise, I think Nebraska is pretty much in the same exact situation. Obviously, they got their coaches there. They're starting to get their type of players into that school and that program that they want. And again, the advantage of playing in the Big Ten and having an opportunity to pull kids nationally. I mean, Nebraska is a national brand. It's a national name. So whether it's Southern California, Vegas, Arizona, Florida, or Texas, they're going and recruiting nationally. And I just think that overall for a program and where they're taking it, I think they got a really bright future.